everyone, my name is Iris France, 我叫林婉如. Today we're going to talk about dumping, also known as international price discrimination. So what is price discrimination? If you remember from your principles of micro, price discrimination is that the firm is charging different consumers different prices, even though the product is the same. But for the consumer whose demand is more inelastic, that means you are not very sensitive to a high price. Therefore, the firm is going to charge you a higher price. But if you're a consumer with more elastic demand, that means you are more sensitive to an increasing price, and therefore the firm is going to charge you a lower price, even though the product is exactly the same. Now, international price discrimination is no difference. It's just that a firm is practicing price discrimination internationally. So for a country where the consumers have more elastic demand, they are more sensitive to a high price, so we charge them lower. But for a country where consumers have more inelastic demand, then the firm is going to charge a higher price. So we're going to look at examples. Suppose this is a steel firm from South Korea, and we have two submarkets, South Korea and Canada. So Canada, the demand is more elastic, but for South Korea, the demand is more inelastic. So suppose this firm is not allowed to practice dumping, so the firm is required to charge the same price in both submarkets. Then what would this firm do? It will first sum up the marginal revenue curve of both submarkets and get a total market marginal revenue curve, and also sum up the demand curve of both submarkets and get the total market demand curve. And now we're going to take a look at the marginal cost curve here and the average total cost curve. So to maximize the profit, the firm is going to set marginal revenue equal to marginal cost, finding the quantity, and go back to the demand curve to decide how much it's going to charge in both markets. Remember, in the first scenario, we're not dumping. So the price is $500 in both submarkets, and we're going to calculate the profit of this firm that is not producing dumping. So profit, we know that's equal to total revenue minus total cost. And total revenue is just price times quantity. So what is our price here? It is 500 in both markets. And the quantity is 45. So that will be our total revenue. What about total cost? We know total cost is equal to average total cost times quantity. And our average total cost at that quantity is equal to 300. And quantity is 45. So after you calculate that, you find that the profit is equal to 9,000. That's if we don't practice dumping. What if the firm can practice dumping? Then it is going to charge a different price in the submarkets. So what you would do is this. We first equate marginal cost and marginal revenue, and we fix a marginal cost at 200. So after that, I know that my marginal cost is 200. I'm going to go to my different submarkets to see how much I'm going to charge. So first, marginal cost is 200. I go to the submarket of South Korea. So marginal cost is here, marginal revenue is here. And the intersection tells me that I'm going to sell 25 units in South Korea. And how much am I going to charge? I go back to the demand curve of South Korea, and it tells me that I should charge $700. So I'm going to charge $700 in South Korea, and I'm going to sell 25 units in South Korea. That will be a total revenue from South Korea, 700 times 25. What about Canada? We know that the marginal cost is 200, and we find the intersection of this marginal cost and marginal revenue. It tells me that I should sell 20 units in Canada. And how much should I charge? I go back to the demand curve of Canada, and it tells me that I should charge $400. And therefore, that will be the revenue from Canada, 400 times 20. And that will be the total revenue. My total cost structure remains the same. And you do total revenue from South Korea plus total revenue from Canada minus total cost, and that gives you $12,000, which is higher than $9,000. And therefore, if the firm can get away with it, they will practice dumping. They will practice international price discrimination in order to maximize their profit. I hope this helps, and I'll see you next time.